Few kings in history carry a name as powerful as Richard the Lionheart. A fearless warrior, a fervent crusader, and a brilliant strategist, he became one of the most iconic figures of the Middle Ages. His name evokes epic battles, bold conquests, and a legacy shrouded in legend. But who was Richard the Lionheart, really? In this video, we will explore the fascinating journey of this King of England who spent most of his life far from his own kingdom. From his childhood marked by family conflicts to his heroic participation in the Third Crusade, through the dramatic period when he was taken prisoner, we will learn about the challenges and triumphs that shaped his fame. Stay with us until the end to discover not only Richard's glories, but also his contradictions. Was he a pious king or a negligent ruler? A Christian hero or a ruthless leader? Let's uncover the true story behind the myth. Stay with us and dive into the life of one of the most legendary monarchs of the Middle Ages. To understand Richard the Lionheart's journey, it is essential to grasp the context in which he lived. He was born in a turbulent period of medieval Europe in the 12th century, when Christian and Muslim kingdoms vied for territories and influence. England, his homeland, was under the rule of the Plantagenet dynasty, governed by his father, the powerful King Henry II. This period was marked by constant wars between European monarchs and by the strong influence of the Catholic Church over politics and society. Beyond the internal conflicts between nobles and kings, Christendom was engaged in the Crusades, military expeditions organized to reclaim Jerusalem and other sacred territories from Muslim rule. It was in this context that Richard grew up, being trained from a young age as a warrior and leader. His mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine, one of the most influential women of the time, had a significant impact on his formation and ambition. 12th century Europe was a world of unstable alliances, betrayals, and fierce battles. Understanding this setting helps us grasp how Richard became one of the most famous kings of his era. Richard was born on the 8th of September, 1157, in the city of Oxford, England. Son of King Henry II and Eleanor of Aquitaine, he grew up amid political intrigues and territorial disputes. From a young age, he displayed great military talent and a preference for French culture and language, being more attached to his lands on the European continent than to England itself. During his father's reign, Richard rebelled alongside his brothers against Henry II, supporting his mother in the fight for greater autonomy for the Duchy of Aquitaine. This revolt failed, but Richard remained a central figure in the politics of the time. After the death of his older brother Henry, he became the heir to the throne. In 1189, following his father's death, Richard was crowned King of England. However, his attention was focused on the Holy Land. He organized a military expedition, setting out for the Third Crusade alongside Philip Augustus of France and Emperor Frederick Barbarossa. During the journey, he faced political and military challenges, solidifying his reputation as one of Christendom's greatest warriors. In the Holy Land, Richard distinguished himself by conquering the island of Cyprus and successfully besieging Acre. His greatest rival was Saladin, the Muslim leader who had reconquered Jerusalem after the death of Baldwin IV. The two waged legendary battles, and although Richard won the Battle of Arsuf and other skirmishes, he failed to retake Jerusalem. In 1192, he signed a treaty with Saladin, securing Christian pilgrims access to the Holy City and ending his participation in the Crusade. On his way back to Europe, Richard was captured by Duke Leopold of Austria and handed over to Emperor Henry VI, who demanded a heavy ransom. During this period of captivity, his absence caused instability in England, but his mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine, managed to gather the resources for his release. Upon his return, Richard faced new wars against Philip Augustus of France, trying to protect his continental territories. His life came to an end in 1199, when he was struck by an arrow during the siege of Chalus Castle. Dying at the age of 41, Richard left behind a legacy of bravery and conquests that echoes to this day. The impact of Richard the Lionheart's reign was felt far beyond his own lifetime. Despite his prolonged absence from England, he remained a symbol of leadership and bravery. However, his rule was marked by high costs, mainly due to the Crusades and the immense ransom that had to be paid for his release. Richard's legacy has been widely romanticized over the centuries. He became an icon of the Crusades and medieval chivalry, often portrayed as a just and courageous king. However, his obsession with wars and crusades had disastrous consequences for England, which faced economic hardships and political instability after his death. Even so, Richard the Lionheart remains one of the most celebrated figures in medieval history. His name and legend echo in books, films, and the collective memory of Christendom, remembered both for his bravery and for his controversies. If Richard the Lionheart's story intrigued you, don't forget to like this video and share it with friends who also enjoy history. Comment below on what stood out to you most about this legendary king and which other historical figures you would like to see here. Subscribe to the channel for more content on the fascinating history of the Church and the Middle Ages. See you next time.